Welcome back, everyone. I believe that I finally got the microphone issues solved. The last month I had to scrap probably close to 6 to 8 hours of really great footage, all for the sake that it was just terrible. The audio was god-awful. I don't know what it was. I basically uninstalled and reinstalled everything and it just started working again. But that's that. A couple things that I have very good visuals to, but the audio is garbage, that I'll somehow, maybe in a small square above or something, figure out how to post and make it look good, are my first track day. I went to Brainerd International Raceway, which is about 3 hours north of me. Yes, there are things north of me, other in Canada. But yeah, we went there and had my first track day on their competition course. It's a little over 2 miles. It's a very slow course. By slow, I'm meaning I'm slow. I also mean I didn't get out of first and second gear pretty much the whole time. I saw third gear a couple times. Whether I'm doing that right or wrong, I don't know. I tried staying relatively high in the RPMs the whole time. First and second gear, it just seemed like that's where the bike wanted to be. So that's where I was. It was a really good time. Some of the things that people tell you is, you know, you're going to become such a better rider after you have your first track day. And they're right. Now, I wish they would tell you that it's not necessarily because you lean deeper at a track so you know where to go, and you brake harder at a track so you know where to brake, and all that kind of stuff. A lot of it has to do with you learn about yourself a lot. We all know that I'm a very introspective person, and I think I might have taken this a little far, but you learn a lot about yourself, what you're afraid to do, what you're not afraid to do, where your limitations are or aren't, and it's a really good time. Speaking of mic checks, let's have a good little sound check right here. First gear. Never get old. Anyways, that being said, one of the things that I came out of the track knowing the best, because Brainerd was a very first, second gear centric racetrack, was first gear is a lot more natural to me now. This bike, I've always condemned first gear. I think a lot of people do this, where first gear is just wheelie happy. That's all it does, is wheelie. Why am I going to use it? Let's do second gear pulls on the highway. Let's do blah, 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 blah. I've become so much more comfortable with the wheelie control of this bike. I've become so much more comfortable without the wheelie control on this bike because of the track, because I did do a couple rounds without it. The track definitely taught me how not to be afraid of certain parts of this motorcycle, and first gear is definitely one of them. I'm very excited about that. Recently on Instagram I posted a couple videos of me doing first gear pulls on the highway with a couple stretched, lowered, and geared out ZX10s. By geared out, I mean they were very geared up in the rear and one gear down in the front, so they were more drag centric, and I actually was keeping up with them off the hit. One of them destroyed me off the hit, which is fine, but it wasn't them leaving me in a completely different zip code like they used to. So I'm very excited about that. First gear is something that I think is very important for quote performance-oriented people, end quote, to really understand and to not be afraid of, and I certainly was afraid of it. I certainly avoided it as much as I could, and I'm glad to know that I'm no longer in that ballpark. I am firmly no longer in that ballpark. But it was a good day. The track, the ambient temperature was like 90 degrees. that was the first time I just got to sit there outside in the sun in my tracksuit. Yes, it was miserable. No, it wasn't unbearable, but my gosh, that was hot. I normally am not much of a sweating kind of person, a little TMI here, but I don't sweat that much. I was uncontrollably sweating that day. I can make that a lot more lewd, but we're not going to go there. It was a lot of fun. Something I didn't really care for, but I understand, is your first track day, they require you and they force you in the novice class, which is fine. Don't get me wrong here. I am not saying that that's not a good thing, but there needs to be some way first day to test out of it, because I get it. On a track, I'm not fast. I'll never claim to be fast because, my gosh, watching some of those guys fly around the track, unreal. They are incredible. However, I'm not a novice. The first lap or two, and they went through instructions and stuff, I get it, but I'll show this clip. This is one of those clips where I said the sound is awful, so it's a good opportunity to throw it up here and show what I'm talking about. Right out of the gate, I passed like 6 or 7 people just because novice class seems to either not want to try, or if they are trying, they're not really skilled enough to give her all, which, again, I understand. Don't get me wrong here. But don't force me to be in the novice class. When I think a person has a good enough amount of experience on or off the track, it translates enough on the track to not be with potentially people that this might be their first time on a motorcycle, first couple times on a bike. And that's good. If you want to buy a bike and you want to learn on a track, good for you. That really is a good thing. But I think that's meant for a different day than people that actually want to be out there trying. Another thing that I am even more disappointed that my microphone cut out was after a year of having this bike, a year as in June 7th, I finally convinced my father to ride this motorcycle. My dad was a huge influence on me growing up. He is still to this day a huge influence on me. My dad used to race in some pseudo Corvette league back when he was younger. He always liked the fast vehicles, and I think a little bit of that rubbed off onto me, and voila, 20-something years later I got a S1000RR, vicariously living out his life now. I am so happy to say that my father went full-on hooligan mode. And he didn't take it easy, and I'm so thankful he didn't. He did use the clutch every single shift, which is a little fun to watch him pop wheelies every single gear shift. But he definitely gave her hell a couple times, and it was a lot of fun to, my goodness, this road is bouncy. It was a lot of fun to watch him experiment a little with this bike. I will be honest, even knowing my dad, I fully expected him to just kind of baby it and putz down the road, and I would have been a little sad. When he got off the bike, he said those exact same things. He's like, I had to give it a couple times because I knew you would be sad if I just putzed. He knows me well. Who would have known? But it was a really cool time. We went to a bar and we had some water. Either way, we had a really good time. I'm sad that the audio didn't show up on that video. It is what it is. Next time he'll have to take this bike out for a ride again too. We're all here. See you guys back on the ride. Yeah, this is where the guy like refrigerated the ketchup. Oh. glad I got that on camera.